I think we have a lot of really caring people here, and the children who come here are often very needy, and I think that people really care about the kids, and they really work to see that all their needs are met.
They're unspoiled children, mainly, for the most part. They have a good attitude, they have an enthusiastic attitude. They will do their best to work hard with you, and they appreciate what you do for them.
The staff just really cares about the children here, and the children feel that. They know that.
I really feel that the students know how much the teachers do care here at Annandale Terrace. As they walk into the building, they can hardly wait to get down the hallway.
Welcome to Annandale Terrace, a small school nestled into a quiet Annandale neighborhood. It's a place where children feel safe and cared for while they learn. The staff here has worked together to make the school beautiful inside and out. Through careful planning, teachers are making sure the needs of all students are met, from their first day of kindergarten to their last day of 5th grade.
We have students from all ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds. The program that we have set up for them is based on strategies that meet individual children's needs. The philosophy that we have based our program and activities on here at Annandale Terrace reflect Dr. Spillane's philosophy this year and theme, Building the Future Child by Child.
This philosophy is producing students who are reaching their potential and are enjoying themselves while they learn. Another school philosophy allows teachers to enjoy themselves and gives them a chance to share their unique interests.
Typically, as I'm meeting with teachers individually or in team situations, they will explain to me a particular individual experience that they've had. And if it's one that we feel as if we can share within the classroom, we tend to bring those individual interests in. It helps students to see that we too are individuals and that we have interests that we would like to share with them.
This freedom of expression for the teachers has produced some beautiful results. The flowers that decorate the school grounds came from the initiative of a 2nd grade teacher who wanted to share her personal interests with the students. This endeavor not only provided an avenue for unique learning experiences for the children, but also added some aesthetic appeal to an otherwise ordinary schoolyard.
I do a lot of flower gardening at home, and I think that's sort of how all of this came about, out of a personal interest of mine. So I became the chairman of the Student Council Association. And the students felt like we needed to beautify our school in some way. So they decided we should plant flowers. At that point, we started an aluminum recycling competition within our school also. So we got some funds that way, and we went out and we bought bulbs. So we have daffodils and tulips and hyacinths that come up during the spring, which are there now, but they haven't come up. At this time, we have mums and marigolds and some veronica out there. And this summer, we had geraniums and spider flowers and some daylilies. The children really felt that it was important that our school looked nice from the outside as well as from the inside. I think it's done more than what we had planned for it to do. The first season that our daffodils came up, every teacher that comes in the front doorway stopped and told me that it started their morning off just perfectly to see the daffodils. One 5th grade teacher said, you know, it just makes my day to see those flowers looking up at me and just smiling as I walk in, because there are quite a few. So really, it brightens everyone's day.
On this day, a kindergarten class got a very special lesson on plants and flowers.
You know, we came outside today because not only is it autumn right now and we have all sorts of beautiful plants and flowers growing, but also to teach you about the plants today. Okay, can someone raise his or her hand and tell me if they see any flowers around here?
Petals, stems, leaves and roots. Petals, stems, leaves and roots. Petals, stems, leaves and roots. We all clap hands together. Do you like these plants? I think they're just beautiful. Can anybody tell me what shape they think the petals are? What shape are they?
They're kind of oval.
You're absolutely right. They're kind of an oval-looking shape, aren't they? And look at the green leaf with the magnifying glass. Can you see the leaf?
Wow.
Are you looking at the leaf with the magnifying glass? Do you see those lines in the leaf? Those lines are called veins. Just like you have veins in your hands, they're also in the leaf. It makes it look big, doesn't it? Okay. What shape do you think the leaf is? See if you can find the stem. You see the stem in your bag?
What shape is this? Rectangle. Good, yes.
Not only are teachers encouraged to bring their unique interests into the curriculum, but they are also encouraged to work together as a team and share ideas.
There are several ways in which we meet student needs. When we work in teams, we typically look at the POS as the framework for our instructional program. Beyond that, we are going into situations where we are looking at research and other types of studies that will guide us in working with the individual students that we have here at our school.
The staff works hard at implementing these strategies. Over the last few years, the focus has been on language arts, math, and school climate. Teams were formed in each of these areas to establish goals and monitor the progress toward those goals. There are also teams at each grade level which meet regularly to exchange information about students and to share ideas from outside research.
We teach cooperation in our classrooms, and we also exemplify it in how we work together. And we do that through our teams at the grade level, but also between grade levels. We have groups that address management issues at the school, that address curriculum issues, and we all work very hard to make sure that we provide each other the support that we need. The meeting this morning was a team meeting. It's a meeting that frequently takes place between a group of teachers that are at the same grade level, and we were the second grade team. Also included in that group was a teacher from our Learning Disabilities program. And generally we get together off and on to talk about business issues, but more importantly to share some literature, research, and practical applications, and to share those. So it's almost a round table in a sense. Basically, it gives us the idea that in helping children to acquire language and fluency, we need to provide literacy scaffolds, both in reading, writing, and oral language activities. And it caught my attention because it talks a lot about what we're already doing in our whole language classrooms, but it basically gives us more ideas to work specifically with some of the ESL children that have been mainstreamed. And one of the things that came up had to do with our concern about meeting the needs of students who are considered English as a second language or in the English as a second language program. And as those children are mainstreamed, regular classroom teachers need to make sure that they are meeting those children's needs. And so one of the articles entitled Literacy Scaffolds was mentioned in the meeting, and that article basically says that you need to find bridges that transport a student into a reading or writing activity. You have to give them some kind of a bridge or link so that they can get the most out of an activity possible.
Okay, King, what can you tell us about the picture? Can you see their animals?
Yeah.
What animals do they have?
4 cats and 1 dog.
4 cats and a dog.
What we were doing today is called guided reading, and that's where you put together heterogeneous groups of students. And the scaffold in that case is doing pre-reading discussions to better link their current knowledge to the book, and then guiding them through the book before the children actually go out and read it independently. So the scaffolding is the guiding through it, talking about vocabulary that might be an obstacle to them when they read it, talking about the cover so that they understand who the main character is or can begin to predict what it might be about. Hey, what made you think that? Because that's what he's doing in the picture, isn't he? Good. Okay, let's turn the page. And Esther, you're going to start us off.
The woman not easy that she
Because language arts is one of the areas of emphasis at the school, the teachers have come up with a myriad of activities which will improve students' reading and writing. Many of the activities are done by students in cooperative groups or independently, so that the teacher can work with the individuals on a one-to-one basis. This class is working on everything from spelling to punctuation to comprehension.
This is your old book, and who read it with you?
the grandfather.
Oh, good.
Another part of the language arts program is the Skinny Book Club.
Well, the Skinny Book Club is a reading incentive program that is for first and second graders. We started it years ago, about 10 or 12 years ago, to get the first and second graders reading on a daily basis to improve their reading. The first and second graders come to the reading room every day, check out a book, take it home, and they read it with their parents. Another goal of the Skinny Book Club is to get the parents involved in reading with their children at home. So they read the book with their parents, to their parents, or the parents read it to them, depending on their level of reading. And there are questions inside every book, so that after they read the book, they talk about the book. The parents can ask them questions about it, make sure they understand it. And then they have a little slip of paper that the parent signs, and they return it the next day. And they get points for every book that they read, and then we award prizes for a certain number of points.
Put a new slip in, make sure you read it, okay? And then there's questions in the front, too, that your mom can, there's questions she can ask you after you read the book, okay? And then she signs the slip.
They love it. We started yesterday, and they were so excited they could hardly wait for the first day. I went around last week to the classrooms and explained the program to them, and I had them stopping by my room saying, "See you on Monday," see you. So they couldn't wait for it to start. We've had a lot of positive feedback from parents and teachers. The teachers have wanted to continue the program over the years. Many programs don't last that long, 10, 12 years. They tend to fizzle out. Kids lose interest. This program has done just the opposite. It's increased. We've had a lot of positive reaction from parents. Parents really like the program, support the program. The PTA supports it. They give us money every year to buy the awards, buy books to add to the Skinny Book Club program. And the number of students reaching the goals has increased over the years.
Another area of focus at Annandale Terrace is math. Students are assessed regularly and extra help is given to those who need it. In this step-up math class, as in all math classes in the school, manipulatives are being used to provide concrete examples of concepts. Manipulatives, books, worksheets, and other hands-on materials are valuable resources for many lessons and can be especially helpful in teaching ESL students and students with learning disabilities. Teachers at Annandale Terrace are fortunate enough to have many of these items at their disposal due to an invention of their math lead teacher.
4 years ago, I became the math lead teacher because the math lead teacher that was here was moving to New Zealand. And I inherited 2 binders with math activities, which we kept in the copy room. They were activities, supplemental activities that you could use with your class. And that's all we had. Then the next year, when we created our school's biennial plan, we had a math objective, which was to increase the math achievement of all students at Annandale Terrace. The PTA funded that objective by giving us funds each year for math activities and materials. So our math committee was comprised of myself and Michael, the math lead teachers, and a representative from each grade level. And we got together and decided what kinds of things did we really need to meet the objectives in the POS. And each year we'd use that money and gather new materials. At the same time, the school got renovated and we noticed an empty room next door. It was called a conference room, and we just sort of moved in and renamed it the math conference room. Here we are in the math room. We have an assortment of big books and student books which contain riddles, rhymes, and stories that go with the math objectives. We have extra pattern blocks and blocks if any teacher needs extras in their classroom. This is our measurement center, which contains cups, pints, quarts, scales, variety of scales in pounds and kilograms. We have tile games, which students can use individually. Over here we have extra materials which go in people's math POS kits, including supplemental materials such as overhead transparencies, overhead money. Over here we have teacher resource books, which can be checked out and copied. Some of the items have already been copied for the teachers. They can just select a folder and all the directions and the transparencies and student work mats are already in there. There are 3 squirrels on the pathway. Here comes some more from the magnolia tree. Now there are 7 squirrels on the pathway. How many squirrels came from the magnolia tree? It sounds kind of confusing until we show it on our story map. Now we're going to use the cubes. There are 3.
Ms. Spring borrowed some storybooks from the math room to help her 3rd graders with a lesson in algorithms.
Did anyone else figure it out a different way? Eric,
Subtracted.
what did you subtract?
Subtracted 3 from 7.
3 from 7, because Eric knew there were going to be 7 altogether, and he already had 3, so he's subtracting. Can you tell me the numbers? The POS gives you an objective, and in the POS binder there are some suggested activities. And with these children, you need many, many interactions with the same skill and for them to master it. And what the math room does is has completely full of manipulatives and items that you cannot teach cups, pints, liters, and quarts from looking at pictures in a book. So, and every teacher in the school does not have a supply of those materials. So they can go down there and choose the containers that they need, and then the kids can physically use. They can fill them up, the jugs, they can look at the sizes, they can compare them, right? And our principal, Mrs. Woody, is very open to having us have as many materials available to the children as possible. And we've seen our scores have really gone up.
The math program in the school is excellent. Most of the teachers use the math kits that the county provide, and then they go beyond that with the materials that we've supplied through the math room. They are constantly looking for new ways to teach math and support the POS, and I think if you walk through the building, you can see those things on display in the hallways, and they work pretty hard at it. The grades have been pulled up, the POS scores are pretty good.
Okay? The hand signal is that it's respectful and kind. We all agree. Is it reasonable and possible that she could stop humming? Give me a signal.
Students have more potential to learn when they're in a safe, happy, and peaceful environment, and providing this type of atmosphere is of great importance at Annandale Terrace. Here, the school guidance counselor is trying what is known as a class meeting to promote prevention rather than punishment in resolving conflicts between students.
All right, well, let's start off with our first item on the agenda. And that's with Sean and Crystal. Sean has written a concern that Crystal keeps humming and singing, and it disturbs him when he tries to work.
The main goal of our guidance and counseling program at Annandale Terrace is prevention model. Mental health is a goal and objective for the whole school, and we've got every classroom staff member, support staff involved in teaching children ways to manage their environment. This year we've introduced classroom meetings as one of the strategies students can use in problem solving. Class meeting is the coming together for 30 minutes, ideally twice a week, and the class looks at any kind of social or academic, even home problems, even friend problems outside of the classroom can come into this meeting, and the student feels trusting and safe in that environment, talking about a problem that they have and asking their friends to give them support and possible solutions that they might try to solve the problem.
Ask a friend to help. Came up again.
21.
And 21. Whoa, you're right. Give a polite warning. Excuse me, this is the most. So we have 3 here. Okay, Sean, would you like to do all 3 or just pick one to try?
Polite warning.
Give a polite warning. When would you like to give your polite warning to her?
The next time she hums.
The next time she hums, okay? Will you report back to us at the next class meeting about how this works out?
Yes.
Okay.
This aspect of a child's school day is important in today's society.
All you have to do is turn into television news, and you see that we have a world in conflict. And children are exposed to it daily, not only on television, but in their community. Certainly, some of the conflicts have generated out into violence in communities, and with economic problems and changing society, we're dealing with many more stressors and conflict at home. So our children come to our schools full of anxiety, and I really feel that part of the problem is that they don't know how to identify not only where that anxiety is coming from, but what to do with it. So now we're trying as a prevention model to teach children conflict can be resolved, that they have power to resolve their simple problems in a safe environment in their classroom with their friends as they're growing up, so that when they go out into the greater society, they're more likely to look at conflict as something that they can manage themselves.
While class meetings teach students to resolve problems, the school song teaches them to unite. This piece of music is another unique creation of one of the teachers.
When I first came to Annandale Terrace, we decided that we wanted things to unify the school, and a school song was one of the things that we thought would be good for the kids to have, to pull them together. So I sat down and composed a tune. I wanted something that would be peppy, that would try to appeal to all the ages that we have here. At that time it was kindergarten through 6th. And so that's how I came to write the song.
Getting 5 grades worth of children into the gym in such a configuration that would allow all the faces to be seen by the camera was no easy task. It was accomplished, however, so here are all 500 of Annandale Terrace's very anxious performers.
relationship between the students and the staff at Annandale Terrace is one that we're quite proud of. We work with the students, whether they are in particular teachers' classrooms or not. Quite often you'll find students visiting their teachers from the previous year. There's a connection that has been made, both socially and academically, and they still need the support of those teachers, especially now early in the year. We'll find them going back to the teacher for both encouragement and just a friendly hello.
The children feel like they are accumulating teachers as they go through Annandale Terrace because they come back to us and say, guess what I did today? I read really well. And we talk about it and we're excited about it. And so the child feels like they have accumulated 4 or 5 people who really care about them, adults who really care about them. And even if they go home and don't see mom or dad in the evening, they feel like they can go back the next day and know that there's someone there who cares about how they do and really does want them to succeed, and so they do.